You came and ate dinner with us, you went out with us multiple times. So we would expect better from you. And I just want you to know, like, when you get back to your cell, we want you to think about the pain you caused me and my family and friends.
Judge Roger McDonough stops mid-sentence. Everyone in the Albany County Courthouse turns to stare at the defendant. He's laughing, actually laughing, while the victim's sister describes finding out her 18-year-old sister was dead. Let the record reflect that the defendant is laughing during the victim impact statement, the judge announces.
Excuse me a second. Let the record reflect that the defendant is laughing during the victim impact statement. Go ahead, ma'am, I apologize.
31 bullets fired, 40 shell casings scattered across Essex Street. One stray bullet that ended a life. But the most chilling part wasn't the murder itself. It was what happened 2 years later in that courtroom when Alvin Foy III couldn't stop laughing. How does someone who grew up with the victim, who ate at their family table, pull the trigger and then laugh about it? 3 days before Chyna Forney died, she posted on social media, "The best feeling in the world is knowing your parents are smiling because of you." Class of 2021. She was 18 years old, a track star at Albany Leadership Charter High School for Girls, team captain of the dance group that had just won first place at the Albany Black History Step Show. 3 weeks from graduation, her nursing school acceptance letter was already on her desk. On May 3, 2021, Alvin Foy III and Jameer Manning opened fire on Essex Street in downtown Albany. They weren't aiming at Chyna. She was just standing there, visiting family after school, like she did most days. Foy knew her. He'd known her family for years. 2 years later, at his sentencing, Judge McDonough would have to physically remove Foy from the courtroom. Why? Because he wouldn't stop laughing while Chyna's sister talked about the day her sister died. What would make someone laugh at their own murder trial? Welcome to True Crime Anatomy. A big thank you to all my amazing subscribers. May your families remain safe wherever they are. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Here, we uncover the parts of the story the media never told.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
6 other witnesses said I wasn't there. You have 2 females said I was there that was on a FaceTime call.
Sir, we're not trying the case. The case has been tried. The jury was convinced
I'm letting
beyond
you
a
know.
reasonable doubt. Sir, you can't talk at the same time as I talk because the stenographer is going to take down my words.
Okay.
If you want your words recorded, you can't try to talk over me. The jury's already decided that issue, sir. Anything else you want to say to the court, sir?
Yeah. You're a biased judge and I can't wait to appeal and see my case. I'm innocent.
Chyna Forney was the middle child in her family, but she never let that make her invisible. At Albany Leadership Charter High School for Girls, everyone knew her name. She was the captain who led their dance team to victory at the Albany Black History Step Show just months before her death, first place. The whole team dedicated their future performances to her memory. Every morning at 5 a.m. while most teenagers were still asleep, Chyna laced up her running shoes. She'd run through Washington Park, training for track season. Her coach described her as someone with a radiant, infectious smile and personality. She wasn't just an athlete, she was a leader on both the indoor and outdoor track teams. That nursing school acceptance letter sitting on her desk? That was her future. She'd already planned it out. Graduate in June, start nursing school in the fall, become a traveling nurse, help people, make a difference. Did you have that one achievement you couldn't wait to celebrate? Tell us in the comments. Alvin Foy III wasn't a stranger. That's what makes this case so disturbing. Prosecutor Cheryl Fowler would later tell the court that Foy had broken bread with the Forney family. He grew up with them. He knew them. They trusted him. By May 2021, Albany was experiencing something police called a surge of violence. Shootings were becoming common in certain neighborhoods. Essex Street, where Chyna would die, sits in the Arbor Hill area, a neighborhood where gunshots weren't unusual anymore. Jameer Manning, Foy's co-defendant, was already walking the streets on bail. He'd been arrested before for illegally possessing a weapon. The system had released him back into the community while he awaited trial. Within months, he'd be holding another illegal gun, firing it into a crowd. The The police would later reveal that Foy and Manning had been in a dispute with another man. Not a major conflict that made headlines. Not something that would warn a family that their daughter was in danger. Just another neighborhood beef that nobody thought would end with 31 bullets flying through the air on a Monday afternoon. What the Forney family didn't know, what nobody could have predicted, was that their daughter would become collateral damage in someone else's war. She wasn't involved in any dispute. She didn't have enemies. She was just visiting family on Essex Street after school, the same way she did most afternoons. The relationship between Alvin Foy III and the Forney family went back years. This wasn't some random act of violence between strangers. Foy had sat at their dinner table. He'd watched Chyna grow up. Her sister Nazari knew him well enough that when she approached the witness stand 2 years later, their eyes would meet, and he would laugh. Nazari would later tell the court, "Alvin Foy, on May 3, 2021, you and your co-defendant," but she couldn't finish because Foy was laughing. The judge had to intervene. Foy claimed an ex-girlfriend in the courtroom had said something. But everyone knew the truth. He was laughing at Nazari, the sister of the girl he killed. On April 30th, 2021, Chyna opened her social media and typed, "The best feeling in the world is knowing your parents are smiling because of you." 3 days left before everything ended. May 3rd started like any other Monday. Chyna woke up, put on her school uniform, and headed to Albany Leadership Charter High School for girls. She sat through her classes. She talked with friends about graduation coming in 3 weeks. She probably thought about her nursing school acceptance, about her future, about making her parents proud. At 2:30 p.m., school ended. Chyna made a decision that hundreds of Albany students make every day. She decided to visit family. She walked to Essex Street just west of Rawson Street. It was 2:45 p.m. She had only 5 minutes left before bullets would tear through her. 31 shots. That's what investigators will count. The man walking down Essex Street had no idea he was being watched. He was the target, the person Alvin Foy III and Jamamir Manning had come to shoot. Court records show they'd been feuding with him. The specifics of their dispute would never fully come to light, but it was enough to make 2 men grab illegal handguns and drive to Essex Street that Monday afternoon. Manning was supposed to be awaiting trial for a previous weapons charge. He was out on bail, walking free, carrying another illegal gun. From inside their vehicle, Foy and Manning saw their target. They also saw the crowd nearby, teenagers and young adults gathered on the street, talking, laughing, living their lives. Chyna Forney stood among them with friends. She'd just arrived from school minutes earlier. Neither Foy nor Manning stepped out of the car. They didn't confront their target face to face. Instead, they opened fire from the vehicle, turning Essex Street into a war zone. The first shot sent people running. Those who were there described a sound like firecrackers, but louder, angrier. The shooting lasted less than 30 seconds, but witnesses said it felt like forever. "I heard so many shots, I couldn't count them," a neighbor told the Times-Union. Her car was parked on the street. By the time the shooting stopped, her back window was gone, replaced by a spider web of shattered glass. 31 bullets left those guns. Investigators would find more than 40 shell casings scattered across the crime scene, some from Foy and Manning's weapons, others from previous incidents. Essex Street had seen violence before, but nothing like this. Their intended target took a bullet to the shoulder. He survived. He walked away from Essex Street that day. Chyna didn't. One bullet, just 1 out of 31, struck Chyna Forney in the back. She wasn't running. She wasn't hiding. She was just standing there when it hit her. At 18 years old, 3 weeks before graduation, her life ended because she was in the wrong place when 2 men decided to settle a score. The car sped away. Foy and Manning fled the scene, leaving behind chaos. Cars sat riddled with bullet holes. Windows in nearby homes were shattered. And on the pavement, Chyna Forney lay dying. At 2:52 p.m., 2 minutes after the shooting started, the first 911 call came in. Multiple shots fired on Essex Street. "Someone's been shot. We need ambulances now." The first officer arrived to find Chyna on the pavement, blood pooling beneath her. Witnesses pointing in different directions, trying to explain what happened. Everyone talking at once. The officer called for immediate medical assistance while trying to preserve the crime scene. Those 40-plus shell casings would become crucial evidence. The ambulance rushed Chyna to Albany Medical Center. Doctors tried everything, but the damage from that single bullet was too severe. At a time when she should have been planning her graduation party, choosing her outfit, thinking about her speech, Chyna Forney was pronounced dead. Word spread through Albany's Arbor Hill neighborhood like wildfire. People began gathering on Essex Street. Some brought candles, others brought stuffed animals. Someone placed a 2021 graduation sign at the spot where Chyna fell. Within hours, a memorial had formed. The motorcycle group Albany High Rollers would later lead a procession through the streets. Hundreds gathered. Her classmates showed up in their caps and gowns to give her the send-off she should have had at graduation. A GoFundMe page launched that evening to help the Forney family with funeral costs. But where were Foy and Manning? They disappeared into the city, probably thinking they'd gotten away with it. They didn't know that investigators were already connecting them to the vehicle. They didn't know their time was running out. Detective units started pulling surveillance footage from every business near Essex Street. Gas stations, corner stores, anyone with a camera pointing toward the road. Frame by frame, they pieced together the moments before and after 2:50 p.m. The vehicle appeared in multiple feeds, approaching Essex Street, slowing down, then speeding away after the shooting. The connection to Alvin Foy III came together quickly. The vehicle traced back to him. Witnesses started talking. People who'd seen Foy and Manning together, people who knew about the dispute with the intended target. Then investigators discovered something that made the case even worse. Jameer Manning shouldn't have been on the street at all. He was out on bail for a previous weapons charge, illegally possessing a firearm. The system had released him, and now an 18-year-old girl was dead. On May 6th, 3 days after the shooting, police arrested 18-year-old Alvin Foy. He was charged with second-degree murder, first-degree reckless endangerment, and criminal possession of a weapon. At his arraignment, he pleaded not guilty. The judge sent him to Albany County Jail without bail. Manning's arrest followed. Both men were now in custody, but their paths through the justice system would take very different turns. On October 21, 2022, Jameer Manning stood in Albany County Court and made a choice. He pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. In his admission, he stated the facts clearly. He and Alvin Foy had fired 31 shots in the direction of a group of people on May 3, 2021. Those shots killed Chyna Forney. Manning's plea satisfied multiple charges: the murder count, attempted murder, reckless endangerment, and weapons possession. It also resolved his previous case for illegal weapon possession, the one he'd been out on bail for when he killed Chyna. He faced 20 years to life in state prison. On December 2, 2022, he received that sentence. But Alvin Foy III took a different path. He maintained his innocence. He wanted a trial. He wanted to convince 12 jurors that despite the evidence, despite Manning's confession naming him as the second shooter, he wasn't guilty. The trial began in April 2023. Prosecutors presented their case methodically. The shell casings, the surveillance footage, the vehicle registration, Manning's confession, witnesses who placed Foy at the scene.
2021, you were a co-defendant.
When Foy's smile turns into laughter, Judge McDonough steps in.
Excuse me a second. Let the record reflect that the defendant is laughing during the victim impact statement. Go ahead, ma'am, I apologize.
Chyna was just 3 weeks away from walking across the stage to graduate high school, and you took that opportunity away from her. You came and ate dinner with us, you went out with us multiple times. So we would expect it better from you. And I just want you to know, like, when you get back to your cell, we want you to think about the pain you caused me and my family and friends.
You want to address the court, Mr. Foy?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
6 other witnesses said I wasn't there. You have 2 females said I was there that was on a FaceTime call.
Sir, we're not trying the case. The case has been tried. The jury was convinced
I'm letting
beyond
you
a
know.
reasonable doubt. Sir, you can't talk at the same time as I talk because the stenographer is going to take down my words.
Okay.
If you want your words recorded, you can't try to talk over me. The jury's already decided that issue, sir. Anything else you want to say to the court, sir?
Yeah. You're a biased judge and I can't wait to appeal and see my case. I'm innocent.
Is that why you were laughing throughout the statement by the
She was laughing
sister
at-
of,
she
is that
was
why you were
laughing at
laughing,
me.
sir?
She was laughing at me. Think I'm
Anything else, sir?
Yes.
Go ahead, finish.
I'm innocent.
You've said that already.
I know, I'm guilty.
Anything else?
So I come home, I'm innocent.
The defendant stands before this court professing his innocence, and regardless of whether you admit to brutally murdering her, you wouldn't sit at sentencing and laugh about it.
I didn't do nothing.
That's, sir, your time to speak has ended. It's now the court's time to speak. If you can't conduct yourself appropriately, we'll send you back into the jail and I'll send you without you here. Here's the bottom line, sir. Anyone with a shred of human decency would not sit in the courtroom and laugh at the sentencing. One more time, Mr. Mills, let your client know I'm about to send him back into the holding cells. Any individual with a shred of human decency would not laugh, regardless of whether he wanted to assert his innocence or not. He would not laugh and make a joke and slouch in the chair and act like this is a bus stop or a bodega or a park bench.
I was wrongfully convicted.
Take the defendant back into the courtroom. Put her back into the holding cells. Pull his pants up while you're doing it, please. So the courtroom doesn't have to observe that. She's going to sentence the defendant in his absence because he obviously has shown that he cannot conduct himself appropriately.
After deliberation, the jury returned their verdict: guilty of second-degree murder, guilty of attempted murder, guilty of weapons charges. Acting State Supreme Court Justice Roger McDonough sentencing for May 19th. He pronounced the maximum sentence, 25 years to life in state prison. Outside the courthouse, Foy's father tried to explain his son's behavior to reporters. He was laughing in disbelief, the elder Foy claimed. He insisted his son was innocent, that the laughter came from shock at being convicted of something he didn't do. But defense attorney Jasper Mills offered a different explanation. He told News 10 that Foy's laughter stemmed from an interaction between the defendant and Nazera as she approached the stand. His reaction during the circumstances was inappropriate. I agree, but I believe that interaction kind of set him off, Mills said. Neither explanation satisfied anyone who'd witnessed what happened in that courtroom. Alvin Foy III will serve at least 25 years before he's eligible for parole. He'll be in his mid-40s. Chyna Forney will still be 18. She'll never age past that Monday afternoon on Essex Street. She'll never wear her graduation cap. She'll never start nursing school. She'll never become the traveling nurse she dreamed of being. And somewhere in Albany, her mother still posts birthday messages to heaven, still hasn't slept a full night, still wonders how someone who knew her daughter could pull the trigger, and then laugh about it. Walk down Essex Street today, and you'll see her face. A mural painted on the building wall shows Chyna Forney smiling, forever 18, forever watching over the street where she died. Local artists created it in the weeks after her death. At Albany Leadership Charter High School for Girls, her dance team couldn't imagine performing without their captain. But they found a way to honor her. When they competed at the Black History Step Show the following year, they dedicated their performance to Chyna. They won first place again, for their dance sister, for their captain, who should have been there. Every May 3rd, the anniversary hits different. Her mother posts on Facebook, "Happy heavenly birthday to my beautiful baby." The messages are raw, unfiltered pain. "I'm so sorry you couldn't be here to celebrate your special day. If anyone knows, birthdays were your favorite. Ever since you left me, I've been so depressed. I still haven't slept a full night since the day you departed me." The 2021 graduation at Albany Leadership had an empty chair. Her classmates wore pins with her photo. 3 weeks. She missed graduation by 3 weeks. The school established a memorial scholarship in her name. Some questions have answers. We know who killed Chyna Forney. We know how many bullets they fired. We know the exact time she died, but other questions remain, haunting this case like ghosts. What psychology explains Alvin Foy's laughter? Court observers, including the judge, were shocked by his behavior. This wasn't nervous laughter or shock. This was mockery. He laughed at Chyna's sister. He laughed at her pain. Even his own attorney called it inappropriate. That week in May 2021, Albany saw multiple shootings. Chyna's death wasn't isolated. It was part of a wave of violence that had residents living in fear. Yet her case stands out. Maybe because she was so young. Maybe because she was so close to graduation. Maybe because her killer laughed. Do you think 25 to life was enough? What would justice look like to you? Tell us in the comments. Thank you for watching. This isn't just another true crime story. This is about a community's failure to protect its children, about a justice system that released a dangerous man on bail, about the cruel randomness of street violence, and about a killer who thought it was funny. Share this story. These cases need attention. Not for entertainment, but for change, for accountability, for Chyna. Tomorrow on True Crime Anatomy, a teacher walks into school, teaches second period, then vanishes before third period begins. Her car is in the parking lot, her purse is in her desk, but she's gone. We'll bring you the details the media missed. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share for more untold details. Hit the notification bell. Leave your thoughts below. We read every comment. One final thought. What would you want to tell her family? Leave your message in the comments. They need to know Chyna's story matters, that her life mattered, that she won't be forgotten. This is True Crime Anatomy. May her families stay safe wherever they are.